Everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to learn about prompt budgeting and grounded prompts. Great retrieval means nothing if your prompt is built wrong. So it's very important for us to see how we are prompting our LLM model, how we are passing the context, and how we are going to ensure what type of answer we are going to get from that. That is something that reflects clearly in the generation process. So we need higher faithfulness and correctness. Your context window is not infinite, so we should treat it like it isn't. So every LLM has a fixed context window. Every time we build a prompt, we are competing for this space. We need to include the system prompt, the task instructions, the retrieved context, and the user query in a single prompt. So it's important for us to see and manage how are we going to pass each one of them and how much tokens each one would certainly take. So a practical starting point would be 10 to 20% of it should be given for system prompt and global instructions or the agent behavior. 10 to 20% should be given for the user query. That is important. Then somewhere around 60% is saved for retrieved context chunks. Suppose we have a 16K token model, like we can see in the diagram, 1.6K tokens would be somewhere around 10% to be given for system prompt, then for task instructions, retrieve context, and user query. So this budgeting is important so that we don't go overboard. Sometimes when we don't think about the budget, some information can be dropped by the model, given that it wasn't important or so. It's important for us to see how we're going to structure this and send. It's very important for the cost. We should never build a prompt without a budget. We need to measure, say count full prompt tokens before sending. So for that, we need to check whether does it fit the defined ceiling. If it exceeds, then cut the irrelevant chunks. If it's fitting, then always have the most relevant chunks present in the query. So then we are going to send, or we are going to only dispatch when the budget is satisfied. The naive approach assembles everything and hope it fits. That works on small test sets, but in production, anything can break. So when the queries are long or documents are dense, we need to verify whether whatever information we're trying to pass fits inside the prompt. Good retrieval is not enough if the prompt lets the model wander. So having prompt strictness is most important. So we need to have a grounded prompting technique. We need to tell the model, say mention in the system prompt that use only what is there in the context. Don't use your own general knowledge. Just give information based out of what chunks you have retrieved. If suppose a certain information is not present in any of the chunks that you retrieved or in the document, so you'd have to explicitly say not found in context and don't ever give a wrong answer or assume a certain answer would fit here. Another way of doing this would be return structured output. We ask the model to give answer in say a JSON or a markdown format so that it's structured, and it also helps us see what relevant chunks were retrieved, where it was retrieved, and it's good for traceability. The settings that make grounded prompting actually work, that is, we need to keep the temperature minimal or zero, that is the creativity of the model. We need to keep it less for factual, legal, or compliance documents. So randomness can be an enemy for us. So higher temperature can be good for creative tasks of say story writing or something creative, but not in deterministic cases. We need to provide some few shot examples. We learned in prompt engineering what is few shot prompting. That is, give a certain examples to the model to understand how it's supposed to answer. Say we give that in a JSON schema, add 2-3 correct examples so that it understands how it's supposed to answer. Also add a verification layer after generation, validate the structure, cross-reference cited chunks against the actual context. This is where it's important for us to provide all the chunking information. And then flag numeric or date inconsistencies, see if something is not matching. So having a combination of budget-aware assembly, grounded prompt, structured output, and verification helps us get the best out of our RAG systems. So that's how about prompt budgeting and grounded prompts. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel. See you in the next one. Bye.